Welcome back. A chamber of conflict is brewing. Former Trump Attorney General Bill Barr joining a new business group taking aim at Biden administration regulations. The group is meant to serve as an alternative to the U.S. Chamber of Commerce. Our Brian Schwartz is here now to discuss. Why now, Brian?
Well, it's really interesting. It's post his time in the Trump administration. This particular new business lobbying group, the American Free Enterprise Chamber of Commerce, has really been looking for big players, particularly in the Republican Party, to jump on board. And they have turned to Bill Barr as basically an advisor to them when it comes to potentially challenging in court some of Joe Biden's business regulations.
What is their distinguishing characteristic that's going to set them apart from the positions of the Chamber of Commerce, which represents big businesses and Main Street businesses or mid-sized businesses?
But they would argue that they are actually really trying to push more and more to the small business side of lobbying. Now, we could debate the merits of what they're actually saying publicly and who their members eventually, when it comes out, who they are. But that's what they're saying. They claim that they're really this alternative to many lobbying groups as the small business alternative to the larger Chamber of Commerce.
Is the impetus here that there is a perception among some on the right that the Chamber of Commerce isn't red enough?
Well, there's been a huge problem between the Chamber of Commerce and certain members on Capitol Hill, including House Speaker Kevin McCarthy and Steve Scalise, the House Majority Leader. They have told us, we did a story, I think, a month ago, about how the Chamber of Commerce is persona non grata in their offices. So that is pretty much where things stand between leaders, many leaders of the House GOP and the Chamber of Commerce. So, of course, there are some in Washington who are looking for an alternative ally in the business world, and that is this potential.
What are the sticking points that have caused such a rift?
Well, the big thing that has stood out to them, the people who are, some of the leaders in Washington, Republican leaders, is that the Chamber of Commerce did endorse Democrats in key elections over the past one or two election cycles. That has enraged some, as high up as I said, Kevin McCarthy, and has gotten to a point now where they're saying, we're not going to deal with the Chamber of Commerce anymore. We're going to turn to somebody else, and it could be this group.
Is there any sign of the chamber itself sort of tacking back and saying, OK, well, if we're now being attacked in this way, that we're going to change going forward, or are they doubling down?
Well, I think they're doubling down. I don't think there's any indication that there's actually going to be any sort of change in the way they operate. They're full steam ahead because they are still the biggest business lobbying group in the country, maybe in the world. They aren't really going to be changing much of what they do. They're almost saying, the way that they come off to me when I hear from them is we're okay not really getting access to Kevin McCarthy's office and Steve Scalise's office because they're still allies of ours on Capitol Hill who will engage with us. They only speak for their offices, and we already have allies on the Hill.